back to KLM. KLM is a grassroots movement working on a life-changing mitzvah. The mitzvah to have KAVANAH mitzvahs, KLM, KAVANAH mitzvahs. Why do I say it's life-changing? Because it applies to every single thing you do, every mitzvah, and really every act you do. And it infuses excitement, and this is really important, accomplishment. If you work on this, you're going to feel more accomplished. And who doesn't want to feel more accomplished, and especially in these trying times? So that's what KLM is about, and that's what we're focused on. Now, as I said in the introduction, there's two things we have to work on before we get into the actual kavanahs, and that is appreciating what a mitzvah is, number one, and appreciating who gave us the mitzvah, Hashem. Okay? And tonight's year, we're really going to target Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Now, let's first have a little appreciation for what a mitzvah is. So I want to tell you a story that was 30 years ago, and that happened in the Rova. I had a roommate who was in his mid-30s, and he wasn't married yet. And he's honestly and understandably, he was anxious. He was very anxious to get married. I think he had by the way, I was at his wedding, it has a happy ending, but he was anxious. And so he wanted to go to the Umshan of the Rebbe to get a bracha and, break through. So the Umshan Rebbe, he sees him, he sees his intensity and is like this, a little anxious. So he looks at him, he goes, he wants a bracha for marriage. He goes, marriage, the Umshan of Rebbe, marriage, it's a mitzvah, like tefillin. Right? It's a mitzvah, like tefillin. So it was a perfect thing to say to him, to put it in in a healthy context, right? But years later, I was preparing a bar mitzvah drush for one of my boys, and what do you speak about? You speak about tefillin. And I realized, with all great respect for the Umshan Rebbe, I'd like to say this. Tefillin, it's a mitzvah like marriage. Woo! Right? We say I engage it. Exactly. Exactly. It's a mitzvah like marriage, where it's an engagement, like an engagement.
Does the ever mean that?
No. But the thing is, no. I'm just putting in the other side. Mitzvahs are a lot about marriage. It's not just tefillin. Okay? It's not just tefillin. Right? Every mitzvah is a reminder, is a conduit back to our hasana, our wedding with the Kadosh Baruch Hu at Sinai. So what mitzvahs, they're like marriage. Why did he have to be calmed down? Everyone's excited to get married, right? So we can be excited about mitzvahs. They connect us to our marriage with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? So that's point number one. Every class I plan on infusing some excitement about what a mitzvah is. Okay? That's number one. But now let's go to our focus tonight, Hashem. Okay? Now, here's what's some very fascinating phenomena, and we discussed this. You can, day to day, you can spend days and you're making blessings and you're doing kindness and you're learning Torah, and you may not actually think about Hashem that day. Days can pass where you're not really thinking. Even on Shabbos, we could have a beautiful Shabbos meal and a connection in spiritual, but are we thinking about Hashem? Are we experiencing the presence of Hashem? We're going to work on this tonight, okay? And here we must start with this. Now, you may have heard this, but if you haven't, it's worth hearing again. If you haven't, listen to this, okay? In 1978, the Big Bang Theory was really starting to get some traction, okay? And there was an astronomer physicist named Robert Jastrow. He wrote a book called God and Astronomy. Okay? Now I want to read to you what he says in there. Okay? It's about the Big Bang. So he says, for the scientist who has lived by his faith in the power of reason, the story ends like a bad dream. He scaled the mountains of ignorance, about to conquer the highest peak. And as he pulls himself over the final rock, he's greeted by a band of theologians who were there for centuries. The Big Bang, the big beginning. In the beginning, Hashem created the world. So there was a bunch of rabbis. Maimonides was up there for hundreds and hundreds of years. They knew that the world began and had a beginning, right? So that's that story. Let me update the story, okay? Mindfulness. For the mindfulness guru, who has lived in his belief in the power of being present in the moment, the story ends like a bad dream. He scaled the mountains of distraction and lack of awareness, about to conquer the highest peak. He pulls himself over the final rock. He's greeted by 3 million Jews at Har Sinai, standing in the presence of Hashem. That's what we're all about. By the way, converts were there as well, right? So here's the thing to realize, that we're not just talking about being present in the moment, we're talking about being present in the presence of Hashem. Now, the world is realizing it. I'm not at all lessening the power of this mindfulness, right? Because the world's starting to realize, if you focus in the moment and you put aside distractions in a non-judgmental way, you can excavate the depth of the moment and you can release joy. It's a powerful thing, right? It enriches life. If you're present, period. If you're present in the moment, it's enriching, okay? But we're talking about something else. Imagine, right? Imagine you have a secret admirer who keeps sending you the perfect gift. They seem to really know who you are, right? Imagine that. And imagine this. How about being present in the moment with the one who's making the moment? And he's pumping existence into existence constantly. We say Hashem is Machadesh Maisa Breshis Tamid, constantly, right? So how about being present with and in the presence of the one existence, after pumping existence into existence? That, I would like to say to you, is the Jewish contribution to the world. That's what we got at Sinai, a whole other dimension, okay? Present in the presence. However, I have a story for you that's going to show you it's not so simple, okay? And story with Rabbi Green years ago, my Rebbe, he was in yeshiva in Jerusalem in the 70s, and there was people, it was the hippie times and the movement, and thank God a lot of people were seeking God, right? So there was a guy from Brazil, I think he was a Brazilian, Argentinian, Brazil, something. He had gone to India, and he said that he saw the white light, and he came to Jerusalem because he's Jewish. He came to Jerusalem, the Jewish, and he wanted to connect to the white light and Hashem. So Rabbi Green's Rebbe said, here, let me sit him down with Rabbi Green, right? So he sits down. I'm going to give you my best South American accent, which is not very good, but that's all I have, okay? So he was, by the way, he says, a striking looking man, right, young man. So he says to Rabbi Green, I want to experience God with you. So Rabbi Green says, okay. So he looks at Rabbi Green again and goes, I want to experience God with you. So Rabbi Green goes, okay. Again he says, I want to experience God with you. He goes, okay. You are experiencing God, Rabbi Green saying, okay, what do you want? He's here. He's here, right? Now, what I think is funny is that, we're like him, what do you mean? Okay, right? It's this man from Brazil, I understand his question. Rabbi Green's right. You want to experience Hashem? Okay. Okay. But it's not so easy, okay? And why isn't it so easy? Because I'd like to suggest, because it's a mitzvah, okay? Attaining awareness of Hashem, more than just, I know Hashem created the world, I know Hashem gave the Torah. Awareness, presence in the present, is a big mitzvah. You gain existential meaning from this. And it's not going to be meaningful if it's easy. You just conjure up, oh, I'm right there. Okay? Okay? So it's not an easy thing to do, but it's incredibly valuable, and it's incredibly, it'll change, it's a life changer if we can up our game in this. It's called das, awareness of the present. You know how important it is? I'll just give you, how about this? The Gemara Baruch says, if you can attain this awareness, it's as if the Beis HaMikdash was built for you. It's like you're in the times of the Beis HaMikdash. That's what a huge thing this is. And it's interesting because right now, people are seeking more spirituality, and then the Hasidic, movements, and there's a lot of they want to experience Hashem, and they're right? They're right to seek this. We should seek this. But I want to point out, this is an ancient desire that's clear from the Torah. It's clear everywhere. It says in Perkei Avos, right? It says, Da lifnei mi'ata omel. The Chazon Ish, right? He wrote a letter to a close friend, and he says, I want you to know the most important thing is to know before whom you're toiling. Be aware in the moment who you're working. We're all working hard, and everybody has to, with a Torah life, you have to manage so many things, right? And the Torah, right? And the mitzvahs, and the family, and the friends, right? But, so he's saying, what's so important? Be aware of who you're toiling from, okay? In front of, okay? It also, you go into every shul, what does it say? Da lifnei mi'ata omed. No, not no. Be very aware of who before whom you're standing. You hear this? It's a very, very stressed idea. Very important, right? And I want to make it even more important, okay? KLM, KAVANAH. Since it's a mitzvah, right? KAVANAH, now we go into KAVANAH, having intention. What's the mitzvah of awareness, right? Of awareness of Hashem's presence. Is it an important mitzvah? Unbelievably. Maybe I'll just ask this, you can answer. How many commandments did we hear from the voice of Hashem himself? 2. Just 2 of the commandments were directly the voice of Hashem, right? So the first one, Anochi, right? The first commandment, right, is, the Rambam explains, is to be aware you're in the presence of Hashem. Awareness. I'm the God who took you out of Egypt. Once you discover that and you know that and you believe that, which is your life changes from that, of course, right? But this is the mitzvah of Anochi. Shavisi Hashem lenegdi samin. David HaMelech is saying, the first commandment, how do you do it? Place Hashem in your presence constantly. Okay? So you hear, that's the mitzvah that that's the mitzvah we're going to work on. Because this is, imagine if having intention for the mitzvahs, how about having Hashem in our presence when we do that? Okay? So first of all, I would like us to just do it right now, one fulfillment, and then we're going to have a whole other dimension of application, and we'll explain that to the people who are watching as well. There's going to be an assignment that we're going to do in the moment, okay? First, let's just do this right now, okay? I'm about to have us just take a moment to think, right? I'm in the presence of Hashem, okay? But before you do that, okay? Before you do that, I want to warn you something, okay? We're going to do it, and you may not feel anything yet, okay? I just want to make 2 points about that, okay? The whole exercise, kavanah for mitzvahs, will change your life, will transform you, will make you alive, but you have to be patient, and you have to realize what's going on. So number 1, even if I say, have in mind this mitzvah of Anochi, we're going to do it in a second, but I just want to prepare you to get the maximum out of it, okay? But when I say that, I want you to realize that something happens. In other words, I like telling this story. I gave a class in the middle of a class. It was a class on Mishlei, and I had this, this man from Georgia, Russia, Georgia, right? And I looked at him, he's very serious and intent, looking in the, and listening. So I looked at him and I go, just gave him a little smile. And then he just gave me a big smile back. So why did I smile at him? I want to make him feel good, right? So it was just a little moment. That moment is preserved forever. You hear this? These little seconds of kavanah, of doing a mitzvah, in 120 years, you're going to return and see all its glory and grandeur. Okay? So number one is, something big is happening every time you have kavanah for a mitzvah and do a mitzvah. Huge, huge. That's number one. But number two, here's a key thing that I want, when we do this work that we're about to engage in, you have to realize this. I saw this and I feel bad that I couldn't find the source. I believe it was in a commentary in the R Scroll Siddur. But it says in the Kriya Shema, right, that these words that I'm commanding you today, you should place on your heart, right? So it's every day, take the words, the Kriya Shema, the words of the Torah, and place them on your heart. Place them on your heart. So the commentary says, why do you do that? Because one day your heart's going to open and the words are going to go in. You hear that? So right now we're going to start to place this on our minds and on our hearts, and if you keep at it, it's going to go in. You hear? And then it's going to be really beautiful and amazing. Okay? So we're going to do this. The first thing right now, I want everyone, including you, those who are listening. First of all, having kavanah for mitzvahs is a mitzvah. Okay? So let's start with that. Have in mind that I'm doing the mitzvah of having kavanah for the mitzvah of Anochi. And just everybody take a second and recognize that you're in the awareness of Hashem. Okay. That was incredible what you just did. Okay? We just have to realize that. Okay? Now, part two, and I'd like to ask those who are listening to pause and get a glass of water, or if you want to get a glass of fruit juice. I want you to be able to make a blessing of shehakol, and then I want you to drink. Okay, I chose a drink. If you want a piece of food, if you're watching, but we're gonna see the richness of Jewish time, the richness of mitzvahs. You won't believe what's involved with a blessing of shehakol and the drink. That's what we're going to do right now. Okay. What's the meaning and the purpose of life? Dvekus with Hashem. That's our goal, to get closer. And by the way, when you have that goal in the beginning, when you begin with the end in mind, as they say, it's transformative, okay? Because you can ask yourself, you should note, I've just become closer to Hashem. I have more dvekus. So, we're going to take the famous bracha. This is going to be a live demonstration that I want everyone to do. And we're going to first just discover, I said that mitzvahs are some type like antiques that you find. Imagine you find an antique vase and you don't know how much it's worth, but you sense it might be worth something. You take it to be appraised and you said, wow, I can't believe it's worth $100,000, right? So a lot of the mitzvahs we do need to be appraised. Okay, what do we have here? The blessing of shehakol, right? So you'll say to me, it's a blessing. The rabbis require us to make blessings, so I have a rabbinic commandment. Okay, keep in mind every rabbinic commandment is a Torah commandment because Hashem says, "Do what the rabbis tell us." Okay, but that's beside the point. I want to show you. I appraise this blessing of shehakol as having 5 mitzvahs deraisa, 5 Torah commandments, okay? So right now, I'm just trying to show you the treasures that are buried within the mitzvahs. I'm not expecting you to master this, okay? But I am expecting us to achieve some very significant things when we make this blessing. We are going to make a shehakol, and then if we're going to have a glass of water, okay? So, let's begin, just so we get the most out of this. I'm going to translate this blessing. I know you probably know the translation, but allow me to translate it a certain way. Baruch atah, right? The way, blessed are you, literally, but the way this is translated is, you, Hashem, are the source of blessing. Point number one, Baruch atah, you are the source of blessing. Next, Hashem Elokeinu, right? These are Hashem's names, okay? We're going to discuss, okay, let's discuss that right now. When you discuss Hashem's name, when you say Hashem's name, right? Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, has two central meanings. Adonai Kol, master of everything, Haya Hoveviyeh, right? Was, is, and will be. Elokeinu, there's a lot here. Takif, mighty, totally capable, master of all forces, okay? Hashem's names have meanings, and that's going to come in going to be very important. Next, Melech HaOlam. Now, the simple way to translate that, which does not maximize, is you'll say king of the world. And the problem is, you'll think world means just the earth or something. That is not correct. We're talking about the universe. We're talking about, I don't know if universe is big enough, but universe, physical, universe, spiritual, right? King of that entire entity. That understanding is going to be important for all the treasure mitzvahs that lie here. And then finally, Shehakol Nihiyah Bidvaro. That everything came into being with his words. Separate point, okay? That's the text we're going to use. Now let's discover, okay? Right now let's discover some of the hidden treasures that are in this blessing, okay? I'm going to save the one we're going to focus on most for last. This one, atah. Baruch atah. You are the source of blessing, Hashem. What do you think of when you think of blessing? It's something you would like, correct? Blessing is a gift and good that Hashem does, right? Rabbeinu Yonah in Shari Tshuva teaches us that we have a mitzvah to remember every good thing Hashem does. How do we know this? Hashem tells us, I want you to remember what I did for your ancestors in the Midbar. Hashem did a lot of wonderful things, right? Now, if I have to remember these things that didn't happen to me, guess what, says Rabbeinu Yonah? All the more so every good thing that happens, right? So, you appreciate what Hashem does, right? Do you appreciate the goodness you have? Yes? Have in mind the mitzvah. Him means have in mind. Have in mind the mitzvah of remembering Hashem kindness. Every time you think about the kindness Hashem does, you fulfill a mitzvah. That's number one. Treasure number one. Baruch atah, you're the source of blessing. Okay? Next, let's go down. Hashem Elokeinu. We said, if you say Hashem's name with an appreciation for what the meaning is, right? Adonai Kol. Let's just take that, right? When we say, right, and we're going to make a blessing in a minute. So when we say Adonai, right? And we think Adonai Kol, Yiras Hashem, there's a mitzvah to have reverence for Hashem's name. Reverence is expressed by reciting His name with understanding what it means. Elokeinu, Bala Kol Choskom. We could take that. Master of all forces in reality, right? So when you say Elokeinu, and you have in mind Takiv, He's my, any meaning of Hashem, any explained meaning of His name, you have in mind Him. Yiras Hashem. So we have remembering Hashem's kindness. You're the source of blessing. Hashem, if you keep in mind the meanings of the names, you have reverence, you have Yiras Hashem. And two more, okay? There's probably more, but this is a good start, I'd say, okay? Melech HaOlam. I told you, let's not make it too simplistic and understate things by saying it means our world. It means the universe, the physical universe, the spiritual, the whole thing is being wisely run by the King of Kings, right? What mitzvah is that? The higher level of Yiras Hashem. There's a Yiras Hashem that is fear of punishment, but there's what the Ramchal says is the spitz, the key, Yiras aromamus, being in awe of Hashem's exaltedness. Whenever you recognize, by the way, Psukei de Zimra is filled with opportunities for being in awe of Hashem's exaltedness. Yiras aromamus, right? So, Melech HaOlam. if you think about He's the king of that entire universe, just think about a few galaxies, what a galaxy is, think about the spiritual world, the number of spiritual, you think that He's king of that? Eurus aromamus. You just did your third Torah commandment, okay, in 5 words, 6 words. You hear this? There's only 9 words here, okay? But look what's going on here. Is it not incredible? Okay? Last, okay, but not least. No, we're going back to attain. Shahakol niya bivro, right? This is one thought of Hashem's awesomeness and His exaltedness. This is a different thought. How about the fact that everything in this room, wherever you're sitting, wherever you are, it's all being brought into being by Hashem's speech. The entire thing brought in by His speech. That's an encounter and recognition of His exaltedness. That's a separate commandment. You hear? You think Melech HaOlam with a little bit of depth, just a little, right? Fear of Hashem, of His exaltedness, and then a second time. Each one of these things, the Sefer Chinuch says, you have to realize it's inestimable, okay? The top computer cannot match an angel, a malach, right? A malach is a pure intellectual being. A malach cannot calculate the closeness to Hashem you achieve from one of these thoughts, right? So I just want to show you. But now, let's go to what I want to focus on. We're going to make a blessing in a second. Attain. Here we are. What mitzvah is this? When you say you, and you realize who you are saying that to, and He's here. What mitzvah? Anochi. The first command. Awareness of Hashem, right? Awareness of Hashem is a mitzvah. And mitzvah srikas kavanah, right? So we're going to have in mind the mitzvah of emunah, the mitzvah of knowing and being aware that God is here, the same God that took us out of Egypt. Okay? This is the treasures that are available now. So first, so the key is this. It's going to take some time for you to be able to integrate and apply all of this. Okay. Okay, these are the opportunities in the blessing. But look here, a glass of water. Okay, whatever you're drinking, but let's just look at the mitzvahs in drinking the glass of water. Okay, we talked about the blessing, right? There's 5 Torah commandments in the blessing. But look if I appraise drinking this glass of water, and you have intentionality, look at this. Ready? Okay, glass of water, first one, nishmartem. The Torah says there's a mitzvah to take very good care of yourself. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says any effort you make for your health, hydration is obviously one of them, you fulfill this mitzvah and you come close to Hashem. Taking care of yourself. Number 1, let's go up. B'chol dorchecha de'ehu. In all your ways, we have a commandment in Mishlei. It says you should know Hashem, attain awareness of Hashem in everything you do, not just the mitzvahs. How about having a glass of water, right? So you can say to yourself, Hashem, thank you for the glass of water, and I'm going to drink this water so I can have strength to serve you. Guess what you did? The Vilna Gaon says this is one of the most important mitzvahs there are, okay? Just from a glass of water. You hear this? Next. Loving Hashem b'kol levavacha. 2 hearts. Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. One of the classic explanations is that you can love Hashem with your physical desires, right? You're thirsty, you would enjoy a glass of water or an apple, right? So, have in mind, Hashem, I'm going to take my thirst and my hunger, and I'm going to say, Hashem, I love you, and I want to be in a good mood. If I'm hydrated, I'm going to be able to serve you better, right? So, have in mind loving Hashem with your physical desires, okay? The water is sanctified even more. Next, Gomel, this is an incredible mitzvah that our generation, I think, needs to work on, okay? I think we're not so good at self-care, okay? We don't always take care of ourselves sufficiently. Guess what? Shlomo Melech says, Gomel l'nafsho ish chesed. Someone who's kind and bestows good upon himself is a kind person, right? You have an obligation, says the Sefer Haredim, to be kind to yourself, right? So by taking care of yourself, by hydrating, by drinking, by eating, by sleeping, by relaxing, by enjoying yourself, you're being kind to yourself, and that's a mitzvah that can be sanctified. You hear this? And finally, kadoshim to you, to be holy. Okay? One of the expressions of being holy is to not be indulgent, says the Ramban in Parshas Kadoshim, is, you know, you could have like, 11 beers, okay, or, you know, two bottles of Coke, right? You could, may not want to, but you could. By saying, you know what? I'm going to make the healthy choice. I'm going to have some water. You're being holy. You're preparing yourself to not be indulgent within the domain of the Torah, okay? So this is all from the drink, okay? So what I'd like us to do is, and we'll go down here, I'd like us to do our best to fulfill as much as we can. Okay, if you want to be part of KLM, KAVANAH MITZVOS, all right, we have to understand something. You know, a whole world is opening up to you. And you're realizing things you never realized before, all these mitzvahs that you weren't aware of. So, the Yetzer Hara, I just want you to know, he is so bummed out that you are learning about KAVANAH MITZVOS. It is ruining his day, okay? Now, he's going to want to ruin our day by saying, are you kidding? This is too much. This is overwhelming, okay? That's what the Yetzer Hara is going to say. But we have to realize something, okay? First of all, the one who made us and loves us, he knows when you're getting exposed to this information. He knows this is a lot at first. But first just realize this is the path that lies before you. So many chances. The Taryag Mitzvah, says the Zohar, is Taryag Etin. There's 613 conduits and strategies to connect to Hashem. I'm just trying to show you what lies before us, okay? But just realize SVs, small victories. All we're looking for right now, we did it earlier. We had in mind the mitzvah of Anochi and just thought of Hashem's awareness. That was a profound thing that just took place, okay? So right now, I just brought to you all the mitzvahs involved in making a shehakol, and then the mitzvahs in a drink of water, okay? I want to review them just briefly, and we're going to use that as a prep stage, okay? I'm going to just prepare us to make the what we can think about. How about this? Ready? Just join me right now. Have in mind the following. So if we place these thoughts in our mind now, okay, then it counts, okay? So let's just maybe pick up your glass of water, okay? And I encourage people at home, try this at home, okay? So, okay. So, I'm gonna say the kavanahs for this blessing, okay? And you can have them in mind now, and try whatever you remember. Most important, what we're working on tonight is more awareness that we're in the presence of Hashem. So when you say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu, atah, you Hashem our God, try it. My main goal here, for have in mind the mitzvah of Anochi, I'm building my awareness of Hashem, okay? But let's might as well get some mitzvahs on the way, okay? So I'm going to mention them, and then before I make the bracha, however, I have to tell you what you should think about as you drink, okay? So I'm going to do that as well, okay? And then we'll make a blessing, and then we'll drink, and in my humble opinion, we'll be closer to Hashem, because we'll have done a lot of mitzvahs in 9 words and 1 drink, okay? So we're just going to get prepared here. So, the blessing, I'm going to remind you the blessing. Just have it in mind, have him in mind right now. And I'll take us through everything, and then we'll do it, okay? All right, so, Baruch atah, you are the source of blessing, Hashem. I have in mind the mitzvah of remembering the kindnesses you do for me. Atah, you, I'm in your presence. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei, Adon HaKol, Master of everything. Elokeinu, By the way, I have in mind the mitzvah of reverence for your name. Here's Hashem, right? Adon Kol Elokeinu, Takif, mighty, Bala Kochos Kulam, right? I have the meaning of your names in mind, and therefore I'm fulfilling the mitzvah of reverence for your name. Melech HaOlam, King of the physical and spiritual universe, managed with brilliance and wisdom and kindness. That's an encounter of Hashem's exaltedness. So that's called Yiras Romamus, awe of Hashem's exaltedness. That's one fulfillment of Yiras Romamus. But number two, Shehakol Niyah Bidvaro. Everything that's in existence and was in existence and will be all came through Hashem's speech, if you will. Another profound, awesome thought. So therefore have in mind Yiras Romamus. And now, when we drink this water, have in mind the mitzvah of nishmartem, the mitzvah to take care of myself by having healthy food and drink. Next, b'chol darchecha da'eu, knowing God in everything you do. Hashem, the purpose of my drinking is so I can have strength to do your will. Avas Hashem b'kol levavacha, my yetzer hara, even my physical desires, I'm offering to you. I love you and I want to be in a good state to serve you, so I'm going to drink some water, okay? And when I drink water, I'm being kind to myself, and that's a mitzvah. As we learn in Mishlei, it's a mitzvah to be kind to yourself, not just others. And finally, kadoshim to you, by having a healthy drink and not indulging in liquor or whatever it may be to an excess, not for a mitzvah. I'm making a choice to not be indulgent and to be closer to you, to be holy. Okay? Let us all make our brachas and drink the water. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyah bidvaro. While you're drinking, have in mind kindness, nishmartem, etc.
Wow.
L'chaim.
No, seriously.
You'll remember that drink forever.
I hope because I did work on this when I was younger. Like, there is a concept in Judaism of Hashilosa El Vavecha, internalizing God's will as this whole idea of literally, it comes from my heart, because when I study Torah, it goes straight to my heart.
Beautiful.
But it's organic. It flows through the blood.
Beautiful.
It's supposed to come from everywhere, like flowing river.
Beautiful. That's what we're aiming for. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. And I was saying that if you're not like Yehuda and don't feel that right away, just keep in mind, by placing these mitzvahs on your heart, by reviewing these, your heart's going to open up and they're going to go in and you're going to be very connected. Okay? Hashem should give you tzlacha rabba.